introduce Sonda Storley. She is going to be our minute taker at the table over there. I think she's looked at all our name tags and hopefully figured out who everybody is. And also thank you, Arlene, for providing some food and beverages. That was very nice of you. I have a revised contact sheet. I'm not going to hand it out because it's incorrect. I asked them to bring a new one with my BRSU email on it, and it still has my work email.
So I'll have Celeste try again.
Yeah. If anyone wants to contact me regarding this committee, I would like you to use my BRSU address, and that is not the one that was handed out last time on the contact sheet. But my BRSU address is ssaglowski@brsu.org, and I will give you a new sheet next meeting. First item on our agenda is approval of the minutes of our May 25th meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve those minutes? And is there a second? Second by Diane Mack, and the motion was by Bill Meyer. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda is public comment, and we've allotted 10 minutes for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to have public comment? 2 people? Okay.
I can be quick.
3 people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some of my questions I printed out because I didn't think anybody could even answer today.
Okay.
So,
well, we're allotting 10 minutes, so you each have approximately a little over 3 minutes. If you want to start, Melanie?
sure, yes. The biggest concern, I think, on a lot of parents' minds who are planning to use independent schools is the effect of 16 DSA 827. And from my understanding, and I'm not aware, this is a piece of legislation that allows districts which designate high schools to choose another school because we're not operating high school. Oh, you got it? And so we're concerned if we're going to lose that option. And is that a question that you can answer now?
I don't believe we're going to be answering questions right now. If you can just tell us what your concerns are, we'll try to put them into our
I'll tell you my personal concern is if we lose that option, it will cost me $360,000 to educate my kids. If we keep the option, it's $180,000 because of the amount of our vouchers. So that's my first question. The second, as I understand in the Articles of Agreement, quite a lot of leeway can happen. So, I mean, parents would like to know what's going to happen with Articles of Agreement and whether they might limit or expand the scope of 16 VSA 827. And also on your data list that you're using tonight, the announced tuition is equivalent or the same as the non-resident tuition of Salem and Granville, and it's the base tuition rate at the Wells School, which is a Vermont, that one is a Vermont standard, but the non-residential tuition rate is determined by the New York State Department of Education. So I wonder, when you look at the goals of Act 46, how they can continue to do that. And I also wonder, when we form a new board, will they be the people to decide the amount of the vouchers instead of, you know, what was previously established with 16 VSA 827? I'd also like to know if the data from Rupert, Pollitt, and Wells is used in the Seneca Falls formula to determine the amount of aid that goes to Salem and Granville, because I just personally don't like the fact that our poverty is used to bolster education in another school. And let's see. I'd also like to know if any of the schools have any debt, because the actual expenditure per student at Salem and Granville is higher than the tuition at BBA. when I add the resident tuition rate with the amount of aid that they receive, it's about 90% of the total expenditure. So I want to know where that 10% is, and I'd also like to know if it's created debt and if there's any other debt. It makes me question the efficiencies of the school because if BBA can charge $3,000 less than what Salem is spending, why do they have so many more art classes, so many more math and science classes, 2 more foreign languages, a number of other sports? So those are concerns for me, and I know some other parents. So I don't know if you can answer these today, or well, you can do it at another meeting or through email. But I'm certain others would like to know how all that works out. I think, did I cover it all?
Thank you. Sarah, would you like to go next?
Sure. I'm Sarah Post. I'm in West Pollitt. Just wondering what your plans are for community outreach, informing people, having community forums perhaps, or a panel discussion, or some way to get more people involved. I've talked to a lot of people about it, and there's a huge range of understanding, you know, none at all to misunderstanding and misinformation. So, and if you have any, you know, if you are going to have a community forum or some type of engagement, getting dates out in advance and so people can attend. And also, this was talked about, I don't know if it was talked about at the community forum at Medley, but having a non-binding referendum perhaps on the ballot this fall, because hopefully there's going to be a large voter turnout, just to get a feeling of what the community has in mind. So, thank you.
Thank you. I think we might be addressing some of those questions tonight.
Okay. Thanks.
Mr. Cole?
Yeah. I just had one item to add. I had a conversation with Laura Beckwith today, the principal of Josiah Allen Realty. They have a number of properties for sale in Rupert, and she told me that when families find out that the tuition money they have is $7,700 that's directed towards Salem, they lose interest. They ask for other properties in other towns. I'm not sure if she has any properties in Paulet, but I'm sure the same situation applies in Wells equally. That's all. Thank you. She would be willing to put that in writing, by the way, if you would like to have a written statement from her regarding the effect that our designation has on property value.
Thank you. We have a couple more minutes if there's any other public comment. I don't see any hands, so we will move on to our next item on our agenda. Next item is committee member code of conduct, and Joan Postjan, superintendent, will be facilitating this. We expect to spend about 30 minutes on this topic. So go ahead, Joan.
Good evening. I apologize. I'm going to have to put my back to somebody maybe else over here soon. So if you remember back to the mid-1990s, when Medway School was first, the concept of Medway School first began, there was a lot of controversy. There were 2 schools here in Rupert. There were 2 schools in Paulet. I was at the time principal of Sunderland, so I was in this SU, and there was a lot of controversy at that time. But there was a great opportunity to have 50% funding from the state to build a brand new school where we had 4 elderly school buildings that needed much repair, and the 2 communities came together. At first it was very difficult, and people needed to work through those things. Just like Act 46 has become very difficult for many communities where the state is forcing mergers to happen, we need to look at what's best for our students and the goals of Act 46 and to develop into a cohesive working group. Now for some of you that's easier. You've been working together. Paul and Rupert have been working together since the mid-90s in creating a new school district and developing that And so now it comes time, we have the passage of Act 46 that again looks at small school districts and forces us to look at merging. And so we have to look at how we're going to work effectively together. So I've given each of you a sticky notepad, which you're going to use, please, for individual notes. And I'm going to ask you 3 different questions, and then we're going to put them, Jackie, I'll give you this in just a minute, so you have 2 sets.
Okay.
And so we're going to ask you 3 sets of questions. And the first question we'll ask, and all 3 questions we're going to ask you to, for the first few minutes, to work independently by yourself, quietly, and jot down on each sticky a different response. So if you have different thought, we don't care if it's a whole sentence, a thought, whatever. We're going to work together afterwards, but we want to capture your thoughts. So the first question is, what do you think about the behaviors you would see in a group that is functioning effectively? Doesn't matter what group, any group that's functioning effectively, what behaviors would you see? And I'm going to give you a few minutes to work, jot down all the thoughts you want, each one on a different note, please.